New young pass rusher on the 49ers, Bryce Huff. We haven't spoken since the Niners pulled off this trade. I mean, looked at it one way, this could be the Niners' biggest move of the offseason in terms of instant impact. Do you think this is like the move that puts the Niners over the top? Like, does it change your win-loss total projection for them? Like, what does this do for them?
Well, first of all, I think it does a lot. I do. I'm not of a belief. It's easy to be like, well, it doesn't mean much. I think it means a lot. Why? Because look at the 49ers on the back end of their defense. Lenore is like the veteran. He was a 2021 draft choice. Renardo Green's really young. Malik Mustafa's really young. Jair Brown's really young. Luter's really young. Upton Stout's really young. Marquise Siegel. These guys are rookies. So it's a very young secondary. Even the free agents they signed, Richie Grant, Jason Pinnock are relatively young. It's a young secondary. So, yeah, I mean, if you can, any young secondary is going to be helped out if you can speed up the quarterback, move him off his spot, make him throw it when he doesn't want to throw it, where he doesn't want to throw it. So I definitely think this helps the secondary. I also think this really helps Jordan Elliott or Alfred Collins and C.J. West and Jordan Elliott and Givens and all their interior players, because now Bosa and Huff, I think both command doubles, which means that Collins and West and the inside guys probably command singles. And then the question is this. There's two thoughts on this. One of them is, hey, the Niners just had minicamp and they saw that Mikael Williams is really raw as a pass rusher, and that's why Huff's here. There's that thinking, and I understand why people would say that. I actually think it's different than that.
Crossed my mind.
What's that?
The thought crossed my mind. Like, I didn't see him and think that, but I'm like, ooh, I wonder if this had anything to do with them seeing him up front. I wonder.
Yeah, exactly. Like, did they see that Mikael couldn't do it and say, oh, shit, we got to get somebody else?
Or he really is better rushing from the interior or whatever right now.
So, I got a couple friends down there, and I put in a couple phone calls this week and just said, hey, do you think it's more this or more that? And I was told that they drafted Mikael knowing they had a very good shot at Huff. And that actually makes the Mikael pick, to me, make more sense, Grant, because Mikael Williams is not going to step in and get 12 sacks as an edge rusher like a Mike Green or Pierce or some of those other guys. But he is big and strong and can play inside in that NASCAR package. And now that's what I think that's what you're going to see. I think on third downs, you're going to see Bosa and Huff off the edges, and you're going to see Mikael inside, probably with Givens, but it could be any number
or
of guys.
YGM.
But, yeah, I mean, inside, rushing the passer.
Givens.
So in the NASCAR package. So I kind of think that I like the Mikael Williams pick more now that there's Huff. Because now you did need, like I said it to you and we talked about it, I thought the Niners needed a couple defensive tackles. I thought they needed a couple defensive ends. And I thought they needed kind of like one kind of wild card rusher. And Williams, is can be that wild card rusher because he can play inside and outside. So I think it's a good move. And also, it's not about, this guy doesn't have it. He wasn't a great 3-4 outside linebacker. He likes to put one hand in the dirt, sometimes two hands in the dirt, and he's much more of a get off the ball, get upfield, rush the passer. He's not a run defender. He is a pass rusher. So I personally, I think it's a great move because you got to have pass rush or you can't move the quarterback. So I like this guy off the edge. And I think he's going to really help both their inside guys and their secondary.
Yeah, when the Niners went all in the draft to improve their run defense more than anything else, with like each of their first 5 picks were with an eye toward run defense. That's really what all of those players do best, even Upton Stout. I completely understood that it was a weakness of the team last year, and that's kind of where NFL offenses are going. That's the evolution with these 2 high safety defenses. But pass rush still matters, and the Niners pass rush wasn't great either last year. It's really been Nick Bosa against the world for the last couple of years. And so I'm with you. I feel like they needed to address this at some point, whether it was Bryce Huff or Von Miller or Jadeveon Clowney. They had the cap space. It makes sense that they would bring in someone that Robert Saleh is familiar with. I think Eagles fans are saying like, good luck. And some people are looking like, man, it's a one-year wonder. But on a defensive line with Nick Bosa and Mykel Williams, he's probably going to get a lot of one-on-one matchups. And if you put him in a wide 9 alignment, it seems like he's had a lot of success in that particular technique. So I'm enthusiastic. And again, the Eagles are paying more for him this year than the Niners are. So that's a good thing. Prize Picks will give you $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. Win or lose, you'll get $50 for playing. Use promo code COHN, COHN, and download the app now.
Pass rush win rate stats also kind of show that he was pretty good both in 22 and 24. It's just, he didn't fall into or run into as many sacks as he did in 23. But I think there's reason to believe that that Bryce Huff in this system can really dial up some pressure. I think it's, you got to have pass rush. I mean, the bottom line is you got to have pass rush. There's that old saying too. I mean, we saw Ravens, Chiefs AFC Championship game, not this year, but last year when they played it in Baltimore. And Kansas City went in there and won. Well, how did they win? Well, because you have to earn the right to rush the passer on third down. And Kansas City just said, screw you. Here's Pacheco in the A-gaps behind our awesome interior offensive line, and we're going to get to third and short, and we're going to run Mahomes, and I don't care if you got 19 pass rushers, Baltimore. We're not going to let you sack Mahomes and create all these negative plays because we're just going to stay out of pass rushing downs. So, I mean, if you don't stop the run, you can't earn the right to even rush the passer. So I agreed, even though I wasn't really sure exactly where the pass rush was coming from. I like the Niners' approach of stop the run first and then add some pass rushers. So I think that, stopping the run, if you don't stop the run, you're never going to rush the passer, even if you have awesome pass rushers. So you're just never going to get to third and long. So I like the idea.
2024 49ers defense.
Yeah.
Shady Luke says in 2023, Bryce Huff had a lot of sacks with 5 pass rushers if you watch the tape. Well, I would imagine there's going to be a lot of similar looks like that from the Niners this year on third down. One of the things that stood out about Salah before he left for the Jets was how often he brought pressure on third down and how effective his pressures were. When he first became the Niners defensive coordinator, he was pure Seattle Seahawks vanilla. But by the time he left, he was still like that on first and second down to a degree, but his third down pressure package was really, really good. He felt confident with that because he had Jason Verrett and he could go man to man. And I think this year, Lenore is similar, and he's brought in guys like Stout and Nick Martin, who are big time blitzers. They're moving Lenore out because he's not a freaking blitzer. I think they want to have as many pass rush threats as possible. That's the new wave on defense with simulated pressures, what the Seahawks do. I think it's what the Niners are going to be able to do as well. It's going to help Huff and Bosa.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. It used to be they were. I mean, Salah talked about it a couple weeks ago. He's like, hey, when I first got here, we were, cover 3 and Seattle defense and never really blitz. And then our pressure package changed and, everything about the defense has evolved since he was here last time, but he also has evolved. So it's, it's a little bit of, what's going to work, And I think you're going to see him be a lot different than he was first time around. I don't think you're going to recognize. I mean, if you're expecting to see Robert Saleh, the Niners play the kind of defense they did with Robert Saleh when he first was here, I don't think so. I think you're going to see much more of kind of a, an evolution of him, an evolution of them, and kind of a combination of like marrying the two evolutions together. I don't think you're going to see what you saw in 2019.
I have a feeling he's going to do a really good job this year. Now, he's going to have a lot of rookies, so maybe it won't be a top 5 defense, but I think by the end of the season, it might be playing like one, and he's going to be right back in the conversation for head coaching jobs next year. And I wonder if he assured the Niners before taking this job, like, hey, I'll do it for 2 years, or if he told them, like, look, you can get me, but there's no guarantee I'm going to even be here in 2026. So kind of interesting. They're really building the defense and the special teams in his image. And he could be gone in 6 months. It'd be interesting. Get started at factormeals.com/Cohn50off and use code Cohn50off to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box.
Well, it also kind of shows that, he obviously Robert Salah is a pretty popular guy. I mean,
Yep.
Brant Boyer wanted to play for him, and you can makes you wonder if some of the guys who came here, did they come here because of Salah? Is he the reason that the Niners have gotten guys like Bryce Huff and I mean, obviously the draft picks are the draft picks. You draft and you'll go wherever you go, but Robert Saleh is a very charismatic, defensive coordinator, and it seems like guys want to follow him, even to New York, believe it or not, when he was with the Jets.
It seems like he's pulling some strings. I can't account for it. Harold McAllister says $5 just for calling the trade, Larry.
Thank
You were all over it.
Well, and I said it. All I said was, you know what? I think it makes sense that the Niners would call up the Jets for Bryce Huff because of the scheme fit. And my guess is that other teams probably offered like a 6th-round pick, but the Niners said, "Hey, Philly, if you're willing to pay a significant amount of money, we'll throw you one of our 3 4th-round picks."
Yeah.
And that because the Eagles, don't tell me the Eagles, gave the Niners Bryce Huff and somebody else also offered a same round pick. I bet you the Niners are offering one of those 3 4th-round picks, and I bet you the best offer they had was like a 6th. And so now they said, "Oh, you know what? We like the idea. We'll pay you a little bit of the money, and we'll buy ourselves a couple extra rounds in the draft." And I bet you Roseman did that.
It's incredible how quickly a player in the NFL can go from being worth $51 million to being worth a 6th-round pick. It's just incredible. There's no other league like it. I don't even know if that's a good thing or not. It just is what it is.
It's also time of year. It's like, that guy was, if you hold these players long enough, if you want to play chicken, like my guess is, Grant, that Howie Roseman played chicken with a bunch of GMs in the draft. Hey, I want a 3rd-round pick. And then let's just see if the phone rings in the 3rd round. And it didn't. Let's see if it rings in the 4th round. Oh, it didn't. I bet you it rang on day 3 in the 6th round. And he's like, we could probably do better than that. And then probably called up the Niners and said, "Hey, look, these guys are all smart." He knew, Howie Roseman knew that Bryce Huff had a monster year for Robert Saleh, and he knows Saleh's with the Niners. And I bet you he called and said, "Hey, how about you give us a 4th-round pick and we'll pay some of that money?" And the Niners were like, yeah, now we can actually get a player in his prime opposite Bosa that we like. And we got 3 4th-round picks in 26. Yeah, let's do that. Let's make that happen. So my guess is the Niners jumped the line probably by offering a pick that was 2 rounds earlier than everybody else, but Philly made it palatable by eating some of his 2025 contractual commitment.